In our headlines on this Tuesday afternoon, September 24th, here in South Korea. Top diplomats of Seoul, Washington and Tokyo meet in New York on the margins of the UN General Assembly meeting to reaffirm continued trilateral partnership regardless of the upcoming political transitions in the US and Japan. Meanwhile, Israel bombs over 1,300 Hezbollah targets across Lebanon on Monday alone, killing almost 500 people according to Lebanese officials, to mark the deadliest day of confrontation between Israel and Hezbollah since 2006. And Washington and Beijing are looking to lock horns yet again as the Biden administration plans to prohibit Chinese as well as Russian software and hardware in vehicles that possess external communication and autonomous driving features. Foreign ministers of Seoul, Washington and Tokyo met on the margins of the annual UN meeting in New York and reaffirmed their commitment to continue diplomatic interaction despite the envisioned transition in the political landscape both in the US and in neighboring Japan. Our foreign affairs correspondent Peunji starts us off.
In a trilateral meeting that took place in New York on Monday, on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly, South Korea's Foreign Minister Cho Tae-il and his American and Japanese counterparts Antony Blinken and Yoko Kamikawa vowed to continue to cooperate, regardless of the upcoming leadership changes in the US and Japan.
We have political transitions in Japan, in the United States, but this trilat, irrespective of those transitions, will remain vital to the future of all three of our countries, a future that we are working to shape together.
This comes as the U.S. presidential election is set to take place in November, and as Japan's ruling Liberal Democratic Party will elect a new leader to become the country's prime minister later this week. As for issues on North Korea, the three diplomats addressed concerns regarding the regime's uranium enrichment facility and a recently unveiled new ICBM missile launcher, as well as its recent military cooperation with Russia. The three countries agreed to firmly respond to all kinds of provocations from the North and work together on urging the regime to abide by the UN Security Council resolutions. They also agreed to pursue efforts to hold a summit between their leaders by the end of this year, noting that they were able to enhance trilateral cooperation since the historic Camp David summit in August last year. Monday's meeting was the three officials' first face-to-face meeting in 7 months, since meeting on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Brazil back in February. Peunji, Arirang News.
Here in capital Seoul, President Yoon has called on relevant government agencies to follow up on the nuclear energy partnership forged with the Czech Republic last week. The call came during a live address earlier on this Tuesday morning at his first cabinet meeting since returning from Prague this past Sunday. Out of the 56 MOUs penned between South Korea and the Czech Republic, over a dozen deals are related to cooperation on the nuclear power front, ranging from research and development to fostering relevant talent. President Yoon also condemned claims by opposition parties that Korea's bidding price for its envisioned nuclear project in the Czech Republic was set too low and that it would lead to potential losses. Calling the claims, quote, deplorable, he urged for restraint from politically motivated remarks. In the Middle East, amid much global anxiety over a broader regional conflict, Israel raises the stakes significantly by launching an extensive air raid across Lebanon, bombing over 1,000 targets and killing hundreds. Our Shin Ha-young has the latest.
The Israeli military on Monday carried out airstrikes in southern and eastern Lebanon against Iran-backed Hezbollah before targeting the capital Beirut later that evening. An airstrike in Beirut targeted senior Hezbollah leader Ali Karaki, the head of the Southern Front, whose fate remains unclear according to Reuters. This came just 3 days after the assassination of a senior Hezbollah commander. The Israeli military reported that its warplanes struck more than 1,300 Hezbollah targets in Lebanon in a single day. Lebanon's health ministry says at least 492 people were killed Monday, including 35 children, and over 1,600 were injured, the deadliest day of conflict between Israel and Hezbollah since 2006.
We can say that all those who were killed today are civilians, and anyone can see that it was civilian targets that were hit.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu expressed his willingness to continue Israel's attacks on Hezbollah.
I want to clarify Israel's policy. We don't wait for a threat. We anticipate it. Anywhere, in any front, at any time. I promised that we would change the security balance. The balance of power in the north. This is exactly what we are doing.
As tensions in the Middle East rise, the U.S. has decided to send a small number of additional troops to the region. Pentagon Press Secretary Pat Ryder said that this move comes in response to a sharp increase in violence between Israel and Hezbollah that raises the risk of a great regional war, though he did not specify the number of troops or their mission. There are currently about 40,000 U.S. troops in the Middle East. Meanwhile, the UN has called for an end to military responses and urged for a diplomatic solution. 신하영, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, Washington and Beijing are looking to lock horns yet again as the Biden administration plans to prohibit Chinese as well as Russian components in vehicles that possess external communication and autonomous driving features. Our Lee Seung-jae explains.
Citing national security concerns, the U.S. Department of Commerce on Monday proposed a new rule that would ban the import or sale of connected vehicles that are installed with software and hardware made in China or Russia. This comes as the Bureau of Industry and Security released a notice on the proposed rule due to what it said were concerns that cars with cameras, sensors, software, and other components made in China could be used to collect sensitive data on drivers, passengers, and U.S. infrastructure. The rule primarily targets hardware and software integrated into the vehicle connectivity system and software installed into the automated driving system. The VCS is a set of systems that allow the vehicle to communicate externally, whether it be through Bluetooth, cellular, satellite, or Wi-Fi modules, while the ADS allows highly autonomous vehicles to operate without a driver behind the wheel. The newly proposed ban on software would be applied for the 2027 model year, while the ban on hardware would go into effect in 2030. In response to the latest proposed ban, Beijing slammed the announcement, calling it a discriminatory measure. At a regular briefing on Monday, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian stressed China's opposition to the U.S. generalizing the concept of national security and discriminating against Chinese companies and its products. The spokesperson called on Washington to respect market principles and provide an open, fair, transparent, and non-discriminatory business environment for Chinese companies, adding China will resolutely safeguard its own legitimate rights and interests. Seoul will be closely watching the development of the proposed rule, as is expected to force South Korean automakers to readjust their supply chain. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Producer prices fell slightly in August despite higher costs of agricultural products. According to the Bank of Korea on this Tuesday, the producer price index dropped 0.1% on month in August, following an on-month rise back in July. Bank officials believe the ease in prices of industrial products served to offset the surge in prices of agricultural, forestry, and marine products, which were up 5.3% on month amid the prolonged heat wave this year. Also, on the local front, the government and ruling party have decided to expand next year's employment budget to better address youth unemployment. The 2025 budget will be bolstered by 16% on year to hit above 2.2 trillion Korean won. It will be spent on spurring early transition into the workforce for the youth via expanded internship opportunities and tailored support for job searches. New demographic data projects Korea's population will shrink to some 36 million about 50 years down the road, and half of that population will be made up of people aged 65 and older. Our Choi Min-jung covers these projections and more.
South Korea's population is expected to drop significantly over the next 5 decades, despite an increasing global population. Data from Statistics Korea on Monday showed that the country's population will drop by around 30% to some 36 million in 2072 from the current 52 million. However, the global population is projected to increase by 25% to 10.2 billion over the same period of time. South Korea's population peaked in 2020 but has declined since. This year, the country ranked the world's 29th most populous country, but this is expected to fall by 30 notches in 50 years' time. And also, by that time, half of the country's total population will be 65 or older, making it the world's 3rd most aging country. Currently, a 1/5 of the population are seniors. The challenges are posed by fewer people getting married or having babies amid social and economic challenges. In 2023, the fertility rate reached a record low of 0.72, one of the lowest witnessed in the world. Choi Min-jung, Arirang News.
And as we look ahead to a Silver Society, a unique cafe campaign initiated by city officials here in Seoul is taking root across the country to keep senior residents with mild dementia better connected to their community. Our Yoon explains.
There is a special cafe in South Korea where customers are encouraged to kindly accept that their drink may not be what they ordered.
Here at Gov't, seniors with mild cognitive impairment or mild dementia work as baristas, fostering a warm and understanding atmosphere. The work is one way these elderly people can prevent or slow down the progression of the disease.
The campaign, called Gov't in Korean and Memory Cafe in English, was launched in 2018 by Seoul City and the healthcare company Handok. It aims to tackle the increasing number of dementia patients in South Korea's aging population, while also raising public awareness of the condition. Imagine not being able to recall events from just a few minutes ago or forgetting what you were about to say. One of the biggest impacts of this is a significant drop in confidence. For barista Lee Jung-rae, working at the Memory Cafe has been a turning point in her life.
When I first came here, I was dealing with severe social anxiety and depression. I wouldn't answer my phone or open the door to anyone. I was really struggling and even afraid to talk to anyone. But meeting people here has helped me open up and talk more. Even at the end of my shift, I don't want to leave. I've become so much happier and I really love it.
According to the most recently released related data, around 19% of the total population of South Korea is aged 65 or older. By 2025, this is expected to exceed 20%, marking the transition to a super-aged society. The deputy head of one of Seoul's dementia centers emphasizes that with the dementia prevalence rate exceeding 10% in people aged 65 and over, efforts by the government are crucial.
One of the campaign's main goals is to help people get outside and connect with others. By participating in these activities, they can see that they can contribute to their community, which boosts their self-esteem. We believe that this increase in confidence can play a significant role in preventing or managing dementia.
World Alzheimer's Month takes place every September, and World Alzheimer's Day falls on September 21st, as part of a global effort to tackle the stigma around the disease and other types of dementia. Daily social initiatives like the Memory Cafe are currently available in 5 dementia centers across the country and offer meaningful opportunities to create special memories, reminding us that we can make a difference every day.
바리스타 이정래 화이팅!
이은희, Arirang News.
Elsewhere in Gangwon-do province, volunteers there are offering free home repair services to the elderly in need, and the blistering heat is doing little to hinder this charitable cause. Our Cha Yoon-kyung reports.
Several volunteers have gathered in a farming village in Cheongseon, Gangwon-do province. Most urgent for the elderly who live alone is papering walls and replacing floor coverings. Volunteers take out all damaged woodwork, wallpaper that has gone moldy, and floor coverings while scrubbing the dirt off from all surfaces and changing blankets. They try to put up new wallpaper while dripping with sweat.
It is extremely hot and my underwear is all wet, but I am working happily since this will help the elderly to live in a better environment.
Gangwon-do Development Corporation started the Love House Volunteer Project for vulnerable social groups in 2018. A total of 76 homes have been repaired so far. This year, the project also provides necessary home appliances such as refrigerators and air conditioners through an increased budget. Volunteers try to stretch their helping hands, especially to those who cannot receive help easily among vulnerable groups.
If it's not the elderly's own house and is rented, our team and different welfare centers cannot provide any help. There are lots of cases like that. I hope vulnerable groups will be able to receive more help through coverage by the media.
I am very grateful that so many volunteers are helping with the work that I cannot do by myself.
The elderly who could not imagine having repairs to their homes are now smiling. The hard work of volunteers is giving help to vulnerable groups who are having harder times in the long spell of hot weather. Cha Yoon-kyung, Arirang News.
Over in Italy, 5 Korean designer brands that earlier took part in the Seoul Fashion Week held an exhibition at the Milan Fashion Week last week. The occasion follows the inking of an MOU between the Seoul Metropolitan Government and the non-profit National Chamber for Italian Fashion for partnership in promoting bilateral brands. The showcase also included a K-Fashion forum aimed at introducing Korean designers to international buyers. In other news, researchers here have developed a mechanism to predict the diverse impact of potential constructions underground to allow for better response measures. Our Yoon has details.
This is the latest virtual reality setup that simulates the expected vibrations and noise at construction sites. It has been developed by the Korea Institute of Civil Engineering and Building Technology. Detailed data from the simulated construction blast is displayed on the monitor, including its impact range and depth.
The values of vibrations and sound can vary and can be changed. You can think of it as a technology that can enhance the understanding for users.
With the use of this technology, construction site planners can accurately predict the blast location and expected noise level of underground construction work. Such construction work that takes place underground has been difficult to forecast, which has led to a greater number of civil complaints and petitions. The newly developed simulator can also be used to help residents in surrounding areas understand the noise and vibrations from construction in advance.
For large-scale underground construction like the GTX or underground highways that will be built in the future, this technology can help reduce distress for the public.
The simulators have been installed and are in operation at the second stage of construction for the Honam High-Speed Railway project. The research team said it plans to expand the application of the simulator to underground transportation infrastructure development projects, such as future subways and GTX lines. Yoon, Arirang News.
Let's take a look at the latest news in the world now. We begin today in the US, where a court hearing took place on Monday for the man suspected of attempting to assassinate former President Donald Trump earlier this month. In Monday's hearing, Ryan Wesley Ruth was ordered to remain in jail without bond, pending trial on the 2 gun-related charges against him, following his arrest on September 15th. According to federal prosecutors, the suspect apparently wrote a letter stating this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. U.S. law enforcement said that a civilian brought them a box that he said Ruth had dropped off at his residence. In the box was ammunition, 4 phones, and letters. In one handwritten letter addressed to the world, Ruth wrote that he had failed and would offer $150,000 to whomever can complete the job. The letter also said Trump ended relations with Iran like a child, and now the Middle East has unraveled. Federal prosecutors said that they plan to charge Ruth with attempting to assassinate a major political candidate, a felony that carries a life sentence if convicted. Authorities in Malaysia say they have rescued more children from charity homes linked to an Islamic conglomerate called Global Ikhwan Services and Business, where minors were allegedly physically and sexually abused. According to Malaysia's National Police Chief, Inspector General Razaruddin Hussein, on Monday, An additional 187 children have been rescued, bringing the number to 572 since investigations began earlier in September. 156 adults have been detained, including the top management of GISB. Razaruddin said that the National Police identified and conducted raids on 280 premises within all states that have links to GISB in Malaysia, leading to arrests and seizures. The police chief also said at a press conference that the Department of Social Welfare has opened 11 safe houses for the rescued victims. Following record rainfall in Japan's Noto region over the weekend, at least 7 people have reportedly died in Ishikawa Prefecture as the torrential downpours caused mudslides and flooding. The city of Wajima saw record rainfall of 121 millimeters in 1 hour on Saturday morning, while neighboring Suzu City saw 84.5 millimeters in 1 hour. According to state media NHK, some 400 police, fire and self-defense personnel are conducting searches for the 2 people still missing. One of the casualties was a person working on the reconstruction of damage from the region's devastating earthquake on New Year's Day, which killed over 300. Chief Cabinet Secretary Hayashi Yoshimasa said on Monday that some of the evacuation shelters in the region are lacking necessities and that portable toilets and rice are scheduled to arrive. An 18th century diamond necklace with possible links to Marie Antoinette is set to go on auction in November with an estimated price of up to $2.8 million. The necklace, weighing 300 carats, was made just before the 1789 French Revolution and was last seen in public in 1973 before it was sold to a private collector. It has 3 rows of diamonds with diamond tassels at each end and boasts pristine condition and a grandeur size for an 18th century piece, according to the chairman and head of the Royal and Noble Sales at Sotheby's. Now, what makes the necklace stand out is that some of its diamonds may have come from the affair of the diamond necklace piece that contributed to the demise of the last Queen Consort of France, Marie Antoinette, during the French Revolution. Kim Xiong, Arirang News.
Good afternoon. Many are enjoying relief from the late summer heat, although it has gotten much cooler in the mornings and evenings. Even Daegwallyeong in Gangwon-do province had single-digit morning temperatures today. Afternoon highs are rising fast under sunny skies to the mid to upper 20s in most parts of Korea. And that seems to be a major weather theme throughout the week. Beware of large daily temperature swings and sharp drops in humidity. Take good care of your health by drinking plenty of water and exercising, as sudden changes in weather can affect your immune system. Central regions are enjoying plenty of blue skies, but southern provinces are seeing more clouds moving into the country. And Seoul, Daejeon, Busan, Jeju will be getting up to 27 degrees Celsius, which are similar to yesterday. Good air quality nationwide all day today. Meanwhile, Gyeongsang-Namdo province and Jeju could see rain tomorrow with a chance of passing showers in central regions on Thursday. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the international weather conditions. Right, and those are the headlines at this hour here in Korea. Coming up right after this break is our daily panel session, and today we address efforts to ease public calls for better protection of minors on social media platforms. Do stay with us.